What's up, everyone? This is your host, Ghost, coming to you live with another wonderful video. How is everyone doing today? I'm doing well myself. Oh, man. All right. So, got a few things we're going to do today. We're going to check out the update in the Rekieta legal situation. Oh, Lord. Sorry about that. What's his name? Fucking Legal Mindset has has another update. So we're gonna check that out, watch it, and enjoy it. Um, yeah. Um, so not much really to say about that, but yeah. So we're gonna check out the update that he has. See what he has to say. See what new has happened. What news? As his title is Rekieta Law turns or case turns bad face. Nick faces bad facts. So that is his. Um, that's his. That's the title of his video. So we're going to check that out, see what he's talking about, see why or what bad facts Nick is now facing. And, also, shockingly enough, if you watch my previous video of me covering Legal Mindset's views on the case, he was saying that Nick was arguing with people live in DMs or in the DMs and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And, he said it was going to be bad for him because that was going to get leaked. I think he said that at least. Turns out, yeah, he was right. They were leaked. They were leaked, and it was him arguing with Yellow Flash about the situation. So we'll check that out. See what's going on there. So yeah, and then if we have time, I have a hard out in like 2 hours ish. So I have to be done in 2 hours. Uh, so if I'm able to, then we will check out the Dan Bongino interview with Donald Trump that he did last night. We'll check that out and we'll see what was said during that. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, so sorry, I'm just finishing up, situating everything on my side. There we go. Cool. All right, we're all good now. We're all good. Yeah. Quick update. Well, should I do? Let me do some housekeeping first, and then we'll do a quick update in the Trump trial. Uh, Follow me on X at official W Ghost. That's the best way to find out when I go live. You could also watch me live if you so choose. Rumble is, of course, rumble.com/with ghost. You can check me out there. Follow me there, regardless of where you're watching. Follow me on Rumble. That would be much appreciated. Oh, sorry. Get your eyes. And then YouTube is obviously youtube.com/at with ghost. And then twitch.tv/official with ghost is Twitch. My gaming channels, although I've yet to be doing a lot of gaming, been kind of busy at the night and at night, so that's the reason why. Is uh Rumble is Gaming with Ghost, and YouTube is at Official Gaming with Ghost. So check those out there. Links are below for everything in the description. So boom. And then links for the video of sorry. There we go. Links now I just realized I have yet to copy Dan Bongino shit into it. But the links to the videos I'll be watching is also in the video. Hold off on that in case I don't do it today. Actually, so yeah. Quick update with the Trump trial. They're still deliberating, shockingly. A jury yesterday. The jury, I think they asked 2 questions, maybe. I can't remember, but um, but I know one question was asking them to get the jury instructions reread to them for some reason, the judge has decided, hey, I'm not going to give him the jury instructions, a copy of them, which is kind of odd. I don't know how it's done in New York, but most of the trials I've seen, they normally give a copy of the jury instructions to the jury, and I'm sure these are probably some lengthy instructions. So it's just odd to me that he didn't give them a copy of them. So I've asked around so far, and I'm just waiting to see if someone will respond saying that, yeah, it's common in New York for them not to give the jury the instructions. If that's so, then there's not much I can really say about that. I was like, all right, so this is a common thing. It's dumb, it's odd, but it's common at least. Or is this unique? Is this unique? So we don't know. We'll see. I think they're gonna, even though I don't think it should happen, I think they're gonna end up finding Trump guilty. That's what I think is gonna happen, and all that's gonna do is end up boosting his numbers. That's all it's gonna end up doing. So we might have our first felon president. Some good coffee. Um, and if they're smart, although they probably won't do this, but if they're smart, they'll push off sentencing till after the election. Because if they do it before and then Trump's in jail during and gets elected president, that's just going to cause a bunch of hassle for them. So if they're smart, they'll push sentencing off until after the election, and we'll go from there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so they're currently still deliberating. I have yet to see any news whatsoever. The jury came back. So the jury yesterday asked for a copy of the instructions, and then they were sent home subsequently. Uh, yeah. So just another update. Judge reading 6 through 35 pages of jury instructions, specifically the lead up to count one, what the jury can consider as evidence. That's the jury's request for reading of the instructions. So they were told to they asked to get the instructions reread to them. He got sent home. They got sent home for the day. They came back, asked for the instructions to be read to them again, and now he's read them. And apparently, it's those pages. So I have no idea. We'll see, but I wouldn't hold your breath. Trump's going to get found guilty, regardless of the fact that the state didn't actually end up proving its case. They did have a decent close, in my opinion, but once I thought about it, I was like, well, actually, they didn't really. Um, so I mean, we'll go from there. Also, it's odd that the defense did their closing first and then the prosecution. Normally, at least from what I've seen in other various trials, it's flip-flopped. It's normally it's still, the prosecution opens, the prosecution closes. That's how it normally is. And I've seen a couple trials, so I don't know. Yeah, I think it's common knowledge too. So it's very odd. I would love for any New York lawyers or something to tell me how common it is for jury instructions not to be the jury in New York not to be given a copy of the instructions. And very interesting. What the fuck I was gonna say? If it's common in New York for the prosecution to go after the defense in closing, it's odd. So I don't know. Um, yeah, I think that's it. Kind of sucks though. Normally, who would watch talk about this stuff is Rekieta Law, and he's fucked himself up really. All right, let's get on to it. Let's get at her. I'm talking too much. Like I said, I do have a hard out in like at 9. So all right, let's see what Andrew says.
There's a photo of you that looks weird on your
Course.
citizen territory. Yes. And we're going to get out here, get some of the facts in here that are honestly, when Nick is going to, if he's really going to
go. Again, as my common practice is, we're going to boost it up to 1.5 speed so we can get through a lot of this. If you can't tell, this is a almost 2.5 hour video. So just makes things go a little quicker.
With this, it's a massive government conspiracy. The government is lying about everything. He is going to be a huge loser on this one, a big loser, right? Sumo Gamer says there's a photo that looks weird on Twitter, and it's not me. Though, okay, whatever, all right. Vent Kaczynski says, so apparently we need to unalive ourselves? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Sigrun says, speaking of Sonichu and by extension Christian, one, is your coverage of Christian still in the works? And two, are you able to get Lily Bell to talk about that? I would love to collaborate over coverage of Christian. If there's a to do that, let's do it. I love comprehensive coverage of Christian, or at least do like a that'd be fun collab. I'll look into that, obviously, after all this stuff. Matches Burns says Nick's theme song is Rehab by Amy Winehouse. All right, now that we caught up here. Oh, wait, hold on. We got 2 more here on Rumble, and then we're going to start with the document itself. Occupant 42 says, has anyone written the Sonichu Medallion SCP yet? Oh, no, Occupant. And then Sanchensky says, holy shit, I've been watching you since 5K. You beautiful, narcissistic bastard. You blew the fuck up. I've only given a couple other super chats ever. I just hope this one doesn't go up anyone's nose. No, honestly, guys, I'll be real with you. I barely drink anymore. At all. Occasionally, I spend a lot of time in Thailand. In Thailand, the cannabis flower is legal. I don't actually typically smoke, but if I have a friend who's at their apartment, maybe there's a toke or two that goes down. Once again, perfectly legal in someone's personal residence. But other than that, I really don't have those sort of vices. And the drugs and stuff like that. I'm from Miami. I saw the dangers of cocaine. So I knew that specific state from friends and family die related to that. So I don't find it funny, and especially when there's kids involved. I had a situation, I don't want to say exactly who, but there was somebody that ended up having a very similar situation to Nick, and it's scary how close it is, where they hit rock bottom, they were abusing, the kids were neglected. There's potentially, right, we're seeing potential neglect here because I have to say that here, but it was a dark situation. It was a real dark situation. And I see the mirror here because the person was denying it violently, even until the end. And we just had to separate ourselves from that person, so me and everybody else involved just had to separate ourselves from that person. All right. So let's get started on this document, shall we? Now, I was accused of not giving credit where credit is due. So obviously, the previous document, that previous warrant that was out there, the search warrant, right? That was brought to you by, of course, the Kiwi Farms, right? They did indeed procure that, right? And we're going to talk later about them potentially procuring extra evidence, including body cam footage, and also an affidavit for the proceedings to be televised. This was courtesy of the Kiwi Farms. Now, it seems to be accurate. It seems to be reliable, right? So I'm thinking, okay, it's reliable. It was redacted. This was redacted by a friend of mine. So this is a homemade redaction. The unredacted version is out there. You guys can find it. It's very easy to find. But I had people debating whether or not I should redact stuff. And look, if it's in the public court record, there may be times at which I can't redact it, but with this one, since it was coming off of the farms, and because also there's information about the kids in here, I felt the need to do a little bit more redacting. Okay, so that may not happen in every single incidence, right? This may not happen in every single incidence, but in this case, there's redaction. Okay. So let's continue with this. And this is the supplementary report. So this has additional details. Now, a lot of this is going to be similar, but we've got juicy extra facts. So what I want to focus on here, because I want to get, we're going to read through it, we're going to go through everything. But what I want to focus on are the additional facts, not the stuff we know, but the stuff that we've learned that's additional. I think that's extra useful here, right? Extra useful here. All right, so we've got this supplementary report. This is on Nick's case. The reporting party was Kevin Scott Mellon, right, related with the church, the mandatory reporter. The suspect was Nicholas Robert Rekieta. Obviously, we got Kayla Christine Rekieta, also a suspect. Mentioned is Aaron Michael Imholt and April Diane Imholt. So they're in here. Now, real quick, I want to mention this. I'm going to mention this a couple times. Aaron Imholt, apparently, Aaron Imholt heard my last podcast. Apparently he's a fan, which is great. I like it that he's listening. So Aaron Imholt said that he is going to cut back on his podcast tour. Now, I don't know whether that's because he's already gone on every podcast there to go on, right? So there's not really cutting back when he's gone on every podcast, or because he's actually listening, or because he's spoken to an attorney. I don't know, but it's a good idea to shut up. But also, I would encourage him to go further than that, Aaron, because I think you probably are listening, Aaron. And you probably should not be talking about this case on your channel, because I have news that was leaked to me. And this is something that is anonymous. I'm not going to say who leaked this, but this is reliable information that was leaked to me, that there are now recently people that have submitted information to the sheriff's office that could lead to the investigation of Aaron Imholt for potential criminal charges. So once again, let me say this one more time. There is a court.
I mean, it's kind of funny, honestly. Like, I haven't really listened to anything Aaron Imholt has said. I really want, like, when it comes to the whole swinger stuff and whatnot, I haven't really been listening to anything Aaron Himmelth has said, because, as Andrew's pointed out, and I'm kind of coining this term, yeah, I don't think he said it. I don't think he said this, but I'm coining this term. If he did say it, then obviously legal mindset Andrew here has you know gets the gets the gets the credit for this. I swear I don't remember if he said it. I don't think he did. But I'm calling Aaron Imholt the Schrodinger's alpha. He's either a sex god or he's um, a cuck, according to his stories. Because either he pleased, because according to him, again, this is all rumors, so we're trying to stay away from this, but it's just funny. But according to him, he was able to he pleased Kayla, Nick's wife, so well, so amazingly, and all that, and that I think he said that she said that he was the best ever, and all that. But then on the same foot, he couldn't please his wife, and I think she said that on a live podcast. So Aaron Imholt, Schrodinger's alpha. He's a sex god or a cuck. So, but I've been listening to a lot of what he's been saying. All I've really seen him saying a bunch of stuff without, the corroborating evidence, which, is kind of odd, or maybe not. Maybe he's trying to keep it from, I don't know. It's just, I don't believe someone saying something just because they say it. I need some additional, something additional. Okay. Like if it was like a neutral party who didn't really have anything to gain from anything, maybe I believe him more. But this is, this guy, apparently he got cucked out of his relationship. He got his wife, basically quote unquote stolen from him. So he has an axe to grind against Rekieta, apparently, allegedly. So I have a hard time just outright believing him because you could be saying this all revenge, and even like say none of what he's talking, the swinging stuff is true, but April did divorce him. April did leave him and went over and stayed with the Reketas. Aaron could still feel he has an axe to grind against Nick because he gave his ex-wife sanctuary. So I don't know. So I don't believe everything that Aaron says until I get some facts backed up, like some corroborating evidence. Because all it is him saying stuff at this point.
According to what I have been told anonymously, people have leaked information to the sheriff's office that could lead to the potential arrest or charges against Aaron Imholt.
Now, funny thing is, I think yesterday he was supposed to he was supposed to do a show. He canceled his show and said he would be doing one today. So people were going around saying, "Oh, he's talking to the police. That's why he can't he's not able to do a stream because he's doing an interview with the police or something." That's the rumor.
Potentially April as well. So if I were him, I would shut up. Now, Aaron has said, "Oh, I have a lawyer. Oh, I spoke to the police, and the police said they're not going to charge me." Aaron, I hope you had an attorney, and I hope you told that to your attorney, because your attorney's going to tell you you're crazy. Unless you had that in writing, signed by the prosecutor, unless you've got all the proof in the world, and even then I wouldn't trust it. And even then I wouldn't trust it. I would shut up. That's my advice to Nick, and that's my advice to you as well. I would really not talk about this case, both on your podcast and on anybody else's. I would just cut it there, man. I would cut it there. You're just digging yourself in. So that's my advice to him, Aaron. Best of luck. I do appreciate your listening, but you really shouldn't be talking about this. And I know. Listen, I called him a clout goblin, and that's because I suspect, and this is my hypothesis, that Aaron sees the numbers. They're probably looking really good. I mean, he's had his podcast for a very long time. It's on, hold on one second here. Hold on one second. I just want to look this up because I know it's, yeah. Hold on one second. I just want to pull it up and see the numbers. Okay, so he's had this channel for a very long time. So let's look at this for 2 seconds. I think it kind of helps to explain things. But he's had this channel for a while, right? I believe he started in 2011. So let's pop over here and let me show you guys so you know I'm not making this stuff up. So Aaron has had this channel, Steel Toe Morning Show, since 2011, September 8th, 2011. So almost 13 years on the internet, right? And he has 12.7K subscribers. So all this time and that, so when you look at the videos, right, and you see the videos, especially like the latest videos, right, obviously there's a lot more views, right? But if we go back historically, especially if we go back to like older streams, we can see the numbers are far, far smaller, right? We're talking about far, far smaller numbers. So you probably see the numbers and it's like, hey, look, this is great. Everybody wants this. We should go with this. I should ride this. And I understand that. Look, I get it. As a content creator, sometimes you have to strike when the iron is hot, but not when the police are looking at you, right?
Yes. Also, there's another reason why I'm covering this as well is because I'm seeing my, I'm not doing as well as any of these people, but I am seeing, some decent numbers. So I obviously, not decent, but more than I normally get, which is, maybe 1 or 2 more views. So that's not a big deal to me. It's not really that big a deal, but anything helps and maybe gets more exposure and gets me to see more, makes me do better. So anyways,
not when the police are looking at you. So that's my not legal advice. Like not to you, but just in general. It's not smart to go and talk about stuff when you have potential criminal charges, right? Just FYI. All right.
It's also Aaron's admitting to, participating in a lot of the behavior that the Rekietas were doing at the time. So that's one reason. Like if he was just an innocent bystander and all of a sudden, he got like blindsided by this and all that stuff, that'd probably be one thing. It'd probably be fine for him to talk about, like, if he says like, I have no clue, I had no idea. And all that, but then yeah. So yeah, like I said, it would be one thing if he didn't admit to anything criminal and just says, I was just an innocent bystander. Maybe he admits to like the swinging and stuff like that, but then all of a sudden, he's like, all of a sudden it's like took a turn for the worse, and then they disappeared. I have no idea what's going on. Etc. That'd be one thing, but he's actually has admitted to participating in the illegal material as well.
Oh, let's get back to this document and let's talk about it. All right, so we had some victims. Now, a lot of these are the children here. So just so you understand, the children, we're keeping their names out of here completely. It's horrible to me that children's information is so out there. So I'm trying to protect that. You have mentioned Paula Holman, Jamie Lee Elizabeth Wright, who would like to remain anonymous, and Shani Liz Blitzen, that's the quote-unquote live-in maid or nanny. We'll talk about her in a second. And Sergeant David Nestor. Now, one thing that's been brought up is about this live-in maid, this nanny, right? And I was able to find a photo of this woman, right? And this is a very interesting thing. So now this is, of course, fact, right? You got Shani Blitzen, Bitzan, here she is, over here. I guess it's her Pinterest, I guess.
I mean, maybe this is filter, but not bad looking. If Nick was swinging with this chick too, fucking bravo, brother.
So I'm just gonna say something. Look, I've never been married, but despite what anybody said, I have had girlfriends. I've had very long-term girlfriends. And when I've talked about jokingly getting a maid or a nanny, every single time the answer is, oh yeah, they've got to be like 80 years old, right? Or 90 years old. Or like, it's the they're not going to be some attractive young maid. I'm not saying whatever. I'm not making a subjective assessment here, but I mean, she's on the younger side. Looks like she's on the younger side.
Also, she's attractive. Let's put it out there. She's attractive. She's hot.
And typically, I'm just going to say this, blonde younger women are typically not being hired as nannies or maids. It's typically not what happens in the United States. Maybe in like Belarus or like wherever Josh Moon is living, maybe there's like blonde young maids and that's fine, but not typically that to my understanding. So yeah, it's very, very interesting there. Interesting little fact. Yeah, somebody in the chat says my maid is in their 70s. Yeah, so and also foreign, right? So I would typically expect.
I don't care what anyone says. I'd hire a hot nanny. I gotta have something good to look at while I'm banging my wife. Joking. I'm joking. That's a joke. It's a joke. My wife is plenty attractive. My wife is my maid. That was the that was a joke. Oh, that's gonna come back to bite me. That was a joke. Just making a joke.
A foreign maid, right? Now if you're in a foreign country, yeah, maybe it might be different, right? But they're living in America, so there you go. Okay, so let's pull this back up and dig right back into it. Okay, so we've got her now, so that's now relevant. Very interesting. So here's some details, and some of these details will be new details. On 5/16/24 at approximately 8:39, Sergeant David Nestor of the Candy, somebody told me this, Candy Yohi, I think, Candy Yohi, County Sheriff was asked to stop into the office and take a mandatory reporting call from an individual who wished to remain anonymous but was mandated to report. His name was Kevin Mellon, who was a pastor at the Evangelical Covenant Church in the city of New London. He was a pastor to a family with 5 children. The family being reported for information of neglect. So the neglect is front and center here. So anyone who says this is purely a drug charge is just ignoring the fact that it's coming from a mandatory reporter. So they can obviously, a lot of people are trying to ignore that, right? Especially people in the Nick camp, right? Or as the kids call them, the nose guards, right? They will try to say, oh no, this is all about drugs. This is a libertarian argument about the use of drugs. But no, this is actually rooted deeply in neglect, right? Or allegations of neglect, which are material to this. So, right, neglect is what this springs from. Nick and his wife, Kayla, and their children, are listed. They reside with their mother in rural Spicer. Mellon advised the Requietas have a live-in nanny for 4 to 5 years named Channy Bitzan, who recently left the Requietas and began working for another family within the church. This was the first flag for individuals who reported to Mellon that something was wrong with the Rekieta family. Mellon advised that Bitzan does not know this report was made. A total of 4 anonymous people came into contact with Mellon and advised the following information. Okay, so real quick, a total of 4. So a lot of the defenders of Nick, a lot of the people that are arguing against this are saying that there's one source. And Nick himself has actually said this is one source with a person with specific animus against him. Well, it turns out this is indeed not. It is 4 people that reported to the mandatory reporter. So it is cumulatively, 5, right? So I mean, there's the mandatory reporter plus the other 4, right? So that is.
So the argument we made was like, oh, we're just talking about the one person that came in and reported. That's what we're talking about. That could potentially have been what they're talking about. What Legal Mindset's saying here is, yeah, there was one person who was mandatory reported, but there was also 4 additional sources that told him 4 separate things.
Significant amount. And then you tack on to that the podcast. You tack on to that Steel Time Morning Show. You tack on to that Rekieta Law and Rekieta Law streams. You tack on to that any other information they've collected subsequently or around the case. And you've got a lot more. Obviously for probable cause, what they had at the moment, but 5 different sources there, right? So 4 the mandatory reporter, and then their own podcasts and shows. So you're looking at 6 or 7 sources when you're looking at what they're going through. So there's a lot of data. This isn't just one point.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot. I think he's going to get into this. Maybe we'll watch this, but I've seen Barnes Law and Viva talking about how, just being able to see some drugging, seeing some powder nose and like some, maybe strung out behavior isn't enough for probable cause. And Legal Mindset pointing this out, that it's not just that stuff. It's everything coming together. It's the accumulation of all this other evidence, the 5 mandatory or the 5 reports, the drug use, and all that stuff just coming together. That's what caused the probable cause. His critique of Barnes and Viva is that they are just taking everything point by point, and he's saying that everything accumulated together is what's the problem, is what gives you probable cause. It's not this thing in particular, it's everything together.
And probable cause is looked at cumulatively. It's the totality of the evidence. It's looking at all of these things together. They don't just take them in isolation. So just because you may be able to defeat 1 or 2 points, just because the defense may be able to defeat 1 or 2 points, does not mean the whole thing is defeated. And mind you, all the lawyers that looked at the basic search warrant, not even this, they just looked at the basics, said this is pretty bulletproof. People that have a lot of experience. Now, Robert Barnes, came at me and swung at me and critiqued me for saying, oh, Andrew's a Florida bond lawyer. He knows nothing about the Constitution. Well, a lot of the folks that were on my panel, including Nate, including Steve Gosney, there were other folks that were on this panel, had a ton of experience with search warrants and dealing with search warrants, and they all were in unanimous agreement. Ron Coleman as well. Ron Coleman was on there. Had a unanimous agreement. So when a bunch of legal experts get together, and those with various levels of education are all coalescing around the same opinion, it starts to look a little bit more like cop. Even some other lawyers on Twitter and on YouTube have reached out. Even those that are very libertarian, very anti-cop, I said, yeah, this search warrant looks pretty bulletproof. This looks pretty good.
Okay, that's point in legals in Andrew's. His name's Andrew Esquire. It's not his legal name. I think his first name actually is Andrew, but I don't know. That is a point. It's a good point he has. Where I've had a lot of people with far more experience than me, especially in criminal court. Like he's had Nate the lawyer on, who who was a former prosecutor. He's had Steve Gosney, who's an appellate for criminal cases and whatnot. So, I mean, he's got a lot of experience. I can't remember Ron Coleman's exact expertise, but he's a lot of people that are saying this, that. And keep in mind, Steve Gosling is really good friends with Rekieta. Like he's someone that's this is hitting him hard. Nate's okay with Nick. Like as far as I know, there's no animosity for the people that Andrew has brought on. So it's kind of it's helpful in his point. It's why also I'm just I'm ending up covering just Andrew's uh, uh, viewpoint on this, because he's being very fair, and just the facts, ma'am, and maybe he'll sprinkle some speculation when it's somewhat relevant and whatnot. But yeah,
It's pretty solid. It's pretty rock solid. Is there a chance? Yeah, sure. There's like a 5% chance. Maybe. I would give it a 5% chance at this point, based on what everybody has said, based on the totality of opinions and evidence, and everything I've seen. Yeah, there's like a 5% chance. But am I go out there and misrepresent a 5% chance, like a big chance of victory of Nick getting this thing tossed? No, of course not. Okay, I'm just going to get the memberships real quick.
It's also defeating Nick's thing where you don't know everything. There's no one knows the full story. Blah 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 blah. I was like, all right. And maybe it's true we don't know the full story, but what we got is kind of damning, honestly. It may not be damning in the court of law, but it's damning for the court of public opinion.
I'm going to get all the super chats after I get through it. I promise you I'll read all of them. Mazarva Palma for 10. Thank you so much for those memberships. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for that. And then Glenn Bush, who became a member. Thank you for that as well. Appreciate it, Rumble. I promise you. All right. And if there's any at the end that like trail, we'll do a makeup stream if we had to, but I think we'll be good here today. All right. And hopefully my hotel internet hangs in there. I'm seeing it's on like one, you know what I'm doing? I'm seeing it's on one dot. So I'm going to decrease my quality. I'm going to decrease my quality here because I think I'm on 1080p. I'm going to decrease it down to 720. Bear with me, guys. I will not be as sexy, but I think the internet will like it more. So let's do that. Let's go down to 720 here real quick. Okay. Internet Wi-Fi. Gotta love it, baby. All right. So now we're getting into the actual report itself and what was reported. Let's go down here. So Mellon advised that Bitsin does not know the reports have been made till before people made contact with Mellon and advised the following information. A family who's been staying in one home renting, Jessica and her husband Hatfield, were asked to leave recently, and nobody's occupying the residence now. So, okay, they have two homes, and I think that's one that is now unoccupied. Nicholas and Kayla Rekieta have formed a newer relationship with Aaron and April Imolti. I was advised that Aaron Imolti and Nicholas Rekieta do some type of blogging and/or YouTube radio shows. Mellon was advised that the Imoltis moved in with the Rekietas as well. So here we go. This is a big fact. This is a massive factor. And this does change the analysis, that they moved in. This was not just they were visiting. This was not just they were talking. This was they were living together.
Oh, shit.
They were living together. So that is where the accusations of the polycule come from. All the other things spring from is that fact. And this is now a fact that's been alleged in a document, a legal document, right? So we've got that now.
Now, when he says, when Andrew's talking about a fact, he's not saying it's a proven fact beyond a reasonable doubt. It's just what is in evidence or being used as evidence as a fact.
Does that mean it's true? No, but it's an allegation, it's a fact, and it has to be dealt with, right? And it seems to be supported by the rest of the things we've seen.
Now, I just want to, I forgot to mention this. I haven't watched this at all. I watched like a few minutes just to get to when he actually starts talking about everything. I've been that far, but I haven't watched anything. So forgive me for pausing just before he explained that, and I explained it right before.
The stories we've heard and the accounts we've heard so far. So that is including from Aaron, right? So that would line that up. That would line up with that fact. The house is in disarray with clothes and other cluster items everywhere. The children are 2 boys and 3 girls. They have been noted to be wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days with their clothes in disarray and starting to smell. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff about the kids. They have noted during the same clothes with the clothes in disarray and starting to smell. That is
now, I've seen some arguments that the kids are adults, they should be able to clean their own clothes and take care of themselves to an extent, blah 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 blah. And while that may be true, that doesn't actually benefit Nick at all, really, because they may be old enough to take care of themselves and clean their clothes and stuff, but they the parents are still responsible to ensure they are, 1, doing those things, and 2, actually taking care of themselves. If they're not doing it, they're still failing as parents, regardless. Even if the kids are old enough to do them themselves, it's it's odd. So Like, because I've seen like even Van Skyler or whatever making that argument, and it's like, all right, yeah, that's. I mean, point of fact, yeah, but it's still the parents' job to ensure that those things are being done.
Observation. That's not something, the way this is phrased, this is not something that the kids told them their clothes are bad. This is them saying our objective observation, our reasonable observation, is that the kids are wearing the same clothing and their clothes smell. This is just not the kids, right? Because once again, the question is, well, what if the kids were coerced? A lot of the Nick defenders, they ask, well, the kids could be coerced, right? Sure.
Now, obviously, Andrew's reading this like, he's just reading what he's talking about right now. Because later, like on the next sentence, now it's the kids saying this.
Okay, that's a defensive theory. But if you're just observing the fact they're wearing the same clothes and they're stinky, that is a problem because it's not based on any sort of coercion. The preschool director at the church, Paula Holman advised the younger children have advised her.
Okay, so this isn't a teacher. They just called her a teacher. Now she's a director. So she's a little higher up now. So, I mean, I'm just saying, just pointing that out.
The kids told her that they are hungry and not being fed, and also made comment about the clothing. So there was an objective observation that they're wearing the same clothes that smell, and they told her, the children advised her that they are hungry and not being fed. The implication here is that they told her, right? Children advised her. They told her, not she asked them and they answered, right? Anonymous Party advised that they do not believe the children born 2012 and 2015 are being homeschooled while the older boys do attend school. So I guess this is an implication that there might be kids that are not being schooled. I guess I don't understand that. I mean, I guess that's the implication.
Now, again, this isn't a fact, but it's a fact and a fact that needs to be addressed. As Nick has boasted that he and wife homeschool all the kids, and it looks like that's not true. Another lie in Nick's reputation. This is more of a hit. This is less than maybe a legal hit. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, this might be less of a legal hit and more of a reputation hit, if anything, because he boasts about homeschooling. Now it looks like these kids actually, at least the older boys do attend public school or a school, so they're not homeschooled. They're not in a cooperative board or anything, but they do attend a school, which is not good for the public reputation. I'm talking right here. Currently, this statement here, a public, a PR, public perspective problem.
So that's an interesting fact. I did not know that one. A new fact. All information that is regarding the church to the Rekieta family has now gone to blank, as the response is not attainable from Nicholas and Kayla. An anonymous person advised Mellon that they are observing Nick to be lethargic and appear to be high or drugged driving a car around. So a different, and this is something throughout this document, people, this is very important.
So that's a pretty big fact right there, or allegation fact. I don't know. But that's something big there. Not only are they observing him being lethargic and looking to be high or drugged, but he's also doing this while driving a car, which isn't good news for Nick. If it turns out to be some sort of truth.
Nick's theory of the case and Barnes' theory of the case is that there is one person. There's one person that has specific animus against them. Note in this document when they say another, right? So it's not just the same person. It's now another person. It's now his person. So this is a very important fact. Very important fact. Another person advised that Nick would randomly walk out during sermons. Anonymous individuals have advised Mellon that they noticed behavioral changes in both Nick and Kayla, with Kayla almost appearing now to be anorexic and Nick having had lost a substantial amount of weight recently.
I showed this yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. Tuesday, maybe, when I was covering this stuff, that I showed pictures of how Kayla looked like, roughly a year ago and how she looks now. She looks so different, and it's not a good look. She looks terrible.
Recently, anonymous individuals have advised that they have seen what is being described as an injection or track marks on Nick's arms. Anonymous individuals advised Mellon that they believe the impulse are possibly assisting with some type of drug use with Nick and Kayla. Nick's blogging and views and/or subscribers are down, possibly resulting in financial losses. Guys, we now have on the record, and this is insane, we're going to have Nick's YouTube statistics and views entered into evidence. Do you understand this? Like Playboard and his he's looking at his stats, his analytics. That is now going to come into evidence. So a lot of this stuff that's being tracked by a lot of people, and a lot of people would call that where were tracking this, were A-logging this or tracking this very carefully, and they were watching Nick go down and down and down. That's actually now going to be relevant to police. They brought this up as a fact based on putting in here that financial loss, which can lead to.
Yeah, so having financial issues, it's a very common thing to start doing drugs or going down the bottle or doing some self-destructive behavior when you're having some issues like that. So that's actually it's kind of important. Kind of important. I haven't really found it. I haven't really paid attention that much. I just remember dropping off not too long, 6 months ago, I think.
Certain states of mind can lead to certain erratic decisions, right? That is going to be there, right? It's going to be there. It's very interesting. This is why I say, especially for you content creators, beware of what you have on the internet and just understand everything on the internet can be used against you. All right. So we've got an anonymous person who advised Melon at one point, Nick and Kayla, left with the Imholtz to go to a casino, leaving the children alone, putting the oldest son, who was born in 2007, in charge. Melon was unsure if it was suitable or not. Okay, real quick. We need to pause on this one. There's two things I want to say, first of all. This is a big one. Going to a casino to gamble while your kids are at home, frankly, leaving one in charge, I mean, it's pretty bad. And to be honest, the other thing too is I'm going to be a little hard on Aaron for this one because I know Aaron's listening, right? Aaron, you're out.
To be fair, he is 17 years old. I would say that's not terrible. It really just depends on the condition of the house, how that was, going. Was the cabinets well stocked and stuff? But leaving a 17-year-old, home alone, while the parents go out for, I don't know, like, it doesn't say that it was anything more than a night or anything like that. So I mean, it's not woefully unimportant. Like it's not like completely unimportant, but it's not as bad because it's a 17-year-old looking after his 4 other siblings, and majority, a good portion of them are old enough that they can sufficiently take care of themselves. There shouldn't be any issues. So I wouldn't really label this as a really bad thing. I think it's very common with parents with older kids. If you're the older, sibling, then you get stuck with your kids and watching them. So again, it just depends on the state of the house, the food and cabinets, stuff like that nature. That's what really matters.
Out there, you're not absolved on that one, buddy, because if you were living there, if you were participating in that, you made the decision to leave that kid at home alone. Yes, Nick is the dad and Kayla's the mom, and they got the authority, but like, you could have been like, bro, I'm not going to go with you to the casino. I'm going to stay at home with your kid, right? So like, these are the types of things, Aaron, that you're not going to get off the hook for.
Again, I don't think this is a big a deal. He's a 17-year-old kid watching his other, his 4 siblings. That's not a big deal. And again, I think there's at least 1 or 2 that are also above the age of 10 or so. I think there's a couple below the age of 10. So I don't think this is as big of a deal as Andrew is making this out to be, because I think it's very common for parents to leave their close to adult children to take care of their kids. Like it's not a big deal.
And whether it's in the court or the court of public opinion, right? You need to own those. And I'm not sure whether you've specifically acknowledged this one or not. I haven't seen all your shows. I've watched too much video every day. But with Aaron needs to take some responsibility for that, because he left a child to go gamble and do whatever else, right? I assume there's probably some Colombian nose candy involved there, right? If under the proposed prosecution theory of the case, right? I think that would be the implication here, right? Okay, let's continue. Mellon advised that nobody told him anything other than possible neglect and or drug use. There were 0 reports of physical or sexual abuse, and the kids were not in immediate danger time to report. Now, that is relevant. That part is relevant because a lot of people were speculating there was a charge on Kayla Rekieta. There was a charge for her that was related to potential sexual abuse. But that was only related, the physical sexual abuse statute was related to the fact that they were using drugs. It was not related to any actual physical or sexual abuse. Like, so as in, no beating, no sexual assault, none of that. So at this time, there was none of that, at least by the mandatory reporter. So that's something that is clear there. They put out in the facts, and I don't think that's in the allegations. I don't see that. So I do want to clear that up, right? And that's, to the fairness of Nick Rekieta, right? There's no physical or sexual abuse in the terms of physical damage, right? Now, the statute applies a form of abuse if you're using drugs around a kid. So the statute assumes it, right? That's a different thing. That's distinctive.
Yeah, I don't like that. A statute assuming something, you're gonna have to, show some proof there.
All right, let me continue on here. So we've got that part of the report. Now we go down here and we got this kind of skips around. Mind you, this came out of the farm, so this is kind of stitched together. It's a very ghetto version, but we do the best we can here. Obviously it is what we have, and big ups to the farms for getting this information right. It's a huge get, and we'll talk about it later. But once again, there's two sides of this. There's like the Nick side and the anti-Nick side, and the Nick side so far of Nick defenders. When I put out the homework, all they did was cry and moan and say friendship. And I challenged the Kiwis, and they're producing actual evidence and getting stuff done. So it's not equal on both sides of this, right? Both sides of this are not playing the same game. Anyways, we got the same items: the store tubes, the metal cutters, the $100 bill with cocaine on it, the Bindle white baggie with cocaine, a cocaine scooper, 2 baggies with a baggie with a funnel, an unknown brown substance, negative on all Nick tests. I guess that's a narcotics. I guess I don't know. I don't know what Nick stands for. The following items were located in a safe: a Springfield Armory 45 caliber 1911. I do like the 1911. 6 hour 380, 4 45 caliber mags, and 2 .38 caliber magazines, 38 magazines, full of ammo. Following items were in the garage: ammo for 45 and 223, a Remington 870 12 gauge. There were also 45 caliber bullets, and there was 26.67 grams of cocaine. The digital evidence: there were digital photographs, there was audio recording, body cam footage, which full stop Kiwi Farms is trying to get. I believe they're going to set up a fundraiser. It's about $3,000 plus costs. Damn. I think they're going to raise like $5,000. They're going to try to raise about $5,000 for that to get that body cam footage. So I imagine this body cam footage is going to come out at some point. So we'll have that digital evidence eventually. We will have that. PowerPoint video clip from Nick Rekieta's online podcast, which shows a white powdery substance on his nose, and also a screenshot from his podcast, which shows a white powdery substance on his nose. The documents are application for a search warrant and a search warrant receipt and inventory return. Right. So here we go. Here's another account. Now this account differs a little bit. So we're going to read through it because it differs a little bit from it differs a very little bit from what was previously reported in terms of there being additional details. So pay attention here closely because the additional details matter. So
what he's saying is this is different from the search warrant application thing. This seems to be just a report from the detective about the whole, like an after action report. This is what it looks like it's going to be. So that's what it looks like to me and sounds like to me. So it's not that's why he's saying it's different, because what we saw before is the request for a search warrant, and this is more of an after action report of the search warrant being executed.
Detective Pumplum, I actually like this guy's name a lot. It's a really cool name. Was made aware by Sergeant Dave Nestor of Family Services, a report by a mandated reporter regarding Nicholas Robert Rekieta, date of birth 12/16/81, and Kayla Christine Rekieta. I reviewed Sergeant Nestor's initial report, and I was reviewing further information in relation to this investigation. After reviewing that information, I applied for a search warrant for the residence, which as well as for a search warrant of Nick Rekieta. So once again, there was a warrant for the house and for Nick himself, because Nick himself, there was reasonable suspicion he had a little bit of the Colombian booger sugar on him. For further information in relation to the follow-up investigation, please refer to the search warrant, which we have already seen. It was arranged on 523 deputies who needed a predetermined location and eventually traveled to his house in Spicer to execute the search warrant. We traveled to the area, and while almost to the residence, we observed a black-colored Lincoln vehicle with Nick in the driver's seat traveling southbound as we were traveling northbound. Sergeant Nestor was advised to stop Nick and detain him as he was part of the search warrant and his person to be searched, which Sergeant Nestor did. The rest of the above-mentioned officers then continued traveling to the residence to execute the search warrant and arrived at approximately 9:13 in the morning. Chief Deputy Kent Bauman stayed and went to the traffic stop with Sergeant Nestor. When we arrived on the scene, we started knocking on the door on the south side of the residence. We were able to gain a response from a young female juvenile from within the residence, who advised us that her dad advised her not to open the door for strangers. Well, I will say this, and this is in Nick's defense. Fair enough, right? Telling your kids not to open up for strangers, including even the cops, is fair enough. It's fair enough. Saying don't open.
Yeah, especially if you in particular didn't call the cops. Yeah, no, that's smart.
For strangers. So that part, I'll give that part's fine, right? I don't have a problem with that. That's fine, right? I get it. Now let's continue right from there. I want to be fair here, guys, because despite the fact, let me say this again. Despite the fact that the facts are turning against Nick, I am really trying my best to be objective and balanced about this. And if there's a factor that goes for Nick or something that is fair enough or needs to be mentioned or caveated, I'm going to say it. Yes, I'm going to make, I will make the statements that need to be said. I will say what needs to be said. But I'm trying to bring out the fair points when I can. Because I know a lot of people are really mad, especially the Nick followers, are really mad at me right now. They're extremely mad at me right now. Now, once again, if you're mad at me for telling facts, that's more of a problem of you than for me. But I'm trying to give you what I can when it's there. But objectively, there's not a lot of facts here that help the side of Nick. So We knocked for several moments, indicating we were law enforcement, and tried to speak with the juvenile to come open the door for us. We noted there was a keypad on the door and attempted to make radio contact with either Chief Deputy Bauman or Sergeant Nestor. When I overheard radio communication from Sergeant Nestor advising that Nicholas was not going to give us the door code to open the door. This was after several moments, an appropriate time for an adult to make it to the door, at which time Detective David Ardoff, utilizing a ram, opened the door, causing minimal damage to the door. While making entry into the residence, I observed as Sergeant Swanson was standing in the kitchen and was making commands for someone to walk towards him. I was holding on to the stairway to the downstairs and observed two females came from the hallway on the northern part of the residence towards Sergeant Swanson. They were detained and brought outside. There were two children located upstairs. We were advised that there was one child downstairs by Kayla. So, when Kayla came out, she said, hey, there's a kid downstairs. The other female who was detained was April Day and Imholt. They were moved outside, and eventually, while making loud commands into the basement from the top of the stairs, I observed a juvenile male walk out. I advised him to walk up the stairs, which he complied and went out and stood by with his mother. I continued searching the residence, and we located an additional adult juvenile female in the basement bedroom who was apparently sleeping. I advised her to walk out with me to her mom, which she agreed to do. She held my hand while we walked outside. 4 children. This is very fucking sad. Guys, like I read shit like that. I don't know if it's just me, but like I know I'll make the random joke here and there, but I read shit like that. Like, the kid who had to be walked outside. I fucking, that fucking, I feel that. Like right now it kind of hurt. Like I got,
it really breaks my heart seeing that his kids had to go through this. That Nick was so inconsiderate of his kids that they've had to go through this. They had to have police kick down their door and had them walk. Had them walk. Had to experience this at all. This is all Nick's fault. Okay, at the end of the day, this is all Nick's fault. You can bitch and moan about the Fourth Amendment being violated, Barnes and all them. You can bitch and moan about that. But you can say, oh, well, cocaine should be legal. It just comes from whatever you want to call it. You can make all that. Maybe you have some valid points. Maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. Cocaine's illegal. You shouldn't be doing that. And at the end of the day, this is Nick's fault. This is all Nick's fault. Okay, he's supposed to be a Christian man. Okay, he's supposed to be the head of his household. He's supposed to be the leader, and he failed tremendously. This is all Nick's fault. Everything, regardless how you feel about Nick. I like Nick. I love Nick. He was the reason I started podcasting or had the idea to start podcasting. But at the end of the day, this is all Nick's fault.
I feel sad just talking about that. It's so fucking sad. It really is. It really is fucking sad. Because I can see it in my mind's eye, right? Like a kid who's sleeping and has no idea and just like wakes up and it's a fucking police officer who's there to search the house. It sucks. It's fucking sad. Yeah. 4 children were placed outside with their mother, Kayla, as well as April Imholt. The children who were located in the residence were on the list of children. I was advised by Sergeant Nestor and Chief Deputy Bauman that they were going to have Nick Rekieta travel back to the residence as we executed the search warrant. We continued clearing the residence and were able to have the residence secured. The residence was extremely cluttered. There were clothes everywhere, dirty dishes, dust, and overall dirty home. I overheard Nick Rekieta arguing with Chief Deputy.
Now, I would like to see the body cam footage because this doesn't make a very appropriate, description. There's dirty dishes, clothes everywhere, dusty, and I don't dust. My wife doesn't even dust our house. So I mean, it just depends. Like I would like to see the body cam footage. Now again, the dirty home's not. I don't think that's a really big point here. It's just more explaining the state of the area that they were searching. So yeah, I don't know. I would when I see the body cam footage, I can make a better determination on how what the state of the home looks like and how that should really affect his case going forward. Because at this point, I don't think it matters as much as people are making. Because they have 5 kids, house is gonna be dirty. Clothes are gonna be everywhere at some point and stuff, and dust. Maybe they don't dust and shit. So it just really depends. I'd like to see the state of the home itself to really make a determination there.
Bauman in front of the house demanding he receive a copy of the search warrant, which at that time I handed him a copy of. I saw him look at it and eventually throw it on the ground. The house was a very large house, almost 5,000 square feet. We started searching in the master bedroom, where almost immediately Detective Sergeant Brandis located a snort tube and a black vial on top of 2 credit cards. So it literally had April's credit cards and the cocaine. The items were listed above. Cocaine. They were positive for cocaine, the snort tube, and the black tube was positive for cocaine as well. At the time I went and spoke with Nick Rekieta, I requested he speak with me. I advised him of his Miranda warning. He agreed to speak with me and waived his right to counsel. He explained to me that he may or may not answer certain questions. This conversation was recorded on my body camera. During the conversation with Nicholas, he advised he sleeps in the master bedroom with Kayla, and that April was just there visiting on this date. Well, hold on now. We now have contradicting facts. So we had another story that they are living together, that at some point Aaron and April were living together. But now they're saying that April's just visiting today. So note this fact. This is going to come back. This is a very important fact because there's going to be some impeachability here on this fact within this document, right? So let's continue with this. At this time, it was determined that Nick Rekieta, Kayla Rekieta, and April Imholt would all be placed under arrest and transported to Candiothe County, and by deputies as well as State Trooper Josh Monson. While placing Nick in the State Trooper squad, I observed several injuries to his arm and photographed them. So that's once again the injuries, and we're going to have those photographs. So we're going to get the photos. So
there's been talk of about this with the Nick defenders and all that. Even Van Skyler in particular, he's saying like, well, we've been watching Nick for several years, for a while here, and he always wears short sleeves. So I would think we would see him having track marks and shit like that. Well, it looks like it was noted enough by the police for them to photograph it. So when we get those photographs, we'll see how what's going on here. It's been a while since I watched a Rekieta show. So, he does wear short sleeves a lot, and I don't know about swords that well. So we'll see if we'll see what they look like. I don't know.
For all this, there's a lot of debate. There was a lot of debate right now. Even Nick himself was debating about quote unquote track marks and other stuff. We're going to get the photos. Eventually, those photos are going to come out. So we are going to see the photographic evidence and be able to say, okay, are they making up a grand government conspiracy to get Nick Rekieta because he's doing such hard-hitting reporting that is devastating the state of Minnesota and Candiothe County and Spicer? Is it because he's such a vigorous defender of Minnesotans' rights that everybody is out to get him, and including members of his congregation and teachers? And yeah, it's a very interesting theory. But yeah, we're gonna get to see all that play out. Very interesting. So yeah, we're gonna get those photos. They appeared to be sourced common with controlled substance abusers. Elijah Sweet of the Family Services was contacted and eventually came to the scene to assist with placing the children with their grandparents. So there we have it. The kids are with the grandparents. They're probably just fine with the grandparents, right? So we know the kids are okay. Thank God.
Good.
Thank God, right? Continuing, during this time, Detective Oakleaf advised me that she spoke with Kayla Rekieta regarding giving a statement, at which time Kayla advised that she wanted to have an attorney. Very smart. Very smart. Now, here's the question. Did she advise that she wanted an attorney? Here's my question. Did Kayla want an attorney other than Nick? Did Kayla actually want Nick as her attorney? Or was the first time that, because we saw the arraignment and we saw when Nick asserted that both of the others were his clients. Did they actually agree to be his clients, or did he just make that up? Because there's a good chance that I'm not sure whether they actually like consented to it originally or whether they just asserted. I don't know. So it's an interesting fact. At what point did Nick become their lawyer for the purposes of the arraignment? That is, it's an interesting fact, semi-material, right? But I don't think, because I think if they said, oh, I want an attorney and I want it to be Nick, well, they would have said it then, right? They would have just said it immediately. And we're going to get that. We'll have body cam footage. We'll see it. Because if they asked for Nick to be their attorney, they would ask right away. If they don't, then clearly, perhaps they did not trust Nick to be their attorney, right? Just throwing that out there.
Another explanation is that it was very hectic and stuff. They just knew or asked for an attorney. I know that part, and they didn't really think of, oh, let's let me pick Nick. I don't know if I've never been arrested, so I don't know this particular, but I don't know if you just you have to immediately name one, be like, I want this so and so as an attorney, or anything, or you just go, I just want an attorney. So I don't know.
And this is at the point at which, by the way, Nick, who had been representing April, had missed one of her hearings, right? So for her speeding ticket, I believe, right? So it's an interesting point here. I want to know more. I don't know right now. It's speculation, but I want to know more. So Sergeant Brandis attempted to take a statement from April, so she said she wanted an attorney. Deputies continued to search the residence, and the above-listed physical evidence was taken into custody of the Candiothe County Sheriff's Office. Arrangements were made that the grandparents were going to secure the residence. We were able to close the door, and we documented the damage to the door. All officers left the scene at 11 a.m. I traveled back to Candiothe County Law Enforcement Center, where the above evidence...
Hey, 11:05, legal mindset. Get it right, motherfucker.
Processed and placed in the evidence system. I went to the jail and requested that Nick speak to me. He said he was willing to do so. So once again, Nick Rekieta, unable to keep it quiet. I brought him to the interview room with Candiothe County Law Enforcement Center. I again read him as Miranda. He agreed to speak with us and waived his right to counsel. During our conversation, he refused to answer any questions regarding any cocaine use or any controlled substance abuse. He advised me that he resides within the residence and stays in the master bedroom with his wife, Kayla, where he sleeps. He indicated that April Imholt was just a friend and was visiting and does not live at the residence. So here we go. Hold on here. We're about to get a big contradiction. He explained that he is extremely stressed out in regards to his 5 kids and their extra activities. Please see the audio recording details. Here we go. Here's the contradiction. I was advised after this interview that Alicia Sweep had contact with Kayla Rekieta, requesting if their live-in nanny, Cheney Bitson, would be able to assist with anything. Sweep was advised by Kayla that technically April Imholt, was their live-in nanny.
Ooh, that's a big contradictory. So she's either visiting or she's living. It's very interesting. That's very interesting. That's a big contradiction there. Nick's saying one thing, Kayla's saying another. That's very interesting. It's very interesting. I don't know. That's interesting to see there. It's very interesting. All right, moving on.
Ladies and gentlemen, a direct conflict between Nick Rekieta and his wife. A direct conflict between Nick Rekieta and his wife, where he made 2 separate statements to police, which he did not have to make. Once again, this is why you remain silent. This is why even lawyers can fuck up. Sheer hubris is a bitch. And I know Nick, and I know Nick thinks he's very smart, and I know many lawyers think they're very smart. This is why you don't talk. They got him on that. They got him on that. Because somebody is lying here. Either April is not living, and then Kayla lied, or she is living there and Nick lied. Because there's a contradiction. This is out there already. So is Nick lying to law enforcement? Did he lie to law enforcement there? Interesting fact. And it's a tiny lie. Who cares? Prosecutors care.
Yeah,
prosecutors care, especially when
any lie can and will be used against you in a court of law, motherfucker. So it doesn't matter how big or small the lie is. Any lie can be used against you in a court of law. So I mean, you could say, "Oh, it's a small lie, no big deal," but it's gonna be used against him in court, and he's gonna have to deal with that.
And they're looking at this case. And it's just one other thing they can put the screws in on. It's just one other thing they can impeach him at trial on. It's just one other thing they can say, "Hey, Nick, we can settle this. We can settle this out, or we can take this to trial. We might throw in, some deception of law enforcement here, right? They can use it as a screw. This is why you shut up and get an attorney. That's not yourself, especially if you're arrested. Even as an attorney, don't represent yourself. It's a horrible idea. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, seems like
right? Do not represent yourself.
Seems like the best idea ever.
There's a little bit more of this, and the interesting part here is there's an account from Nick's side. So this is so this is David Nestor. Now, David Nestor has squad car video and body cam video. So we're going to need to get, this footage is the footage I really want to see. And you guys are going to see why. You guys are going to see why this footage is something I really want to see. Yes, I want to see
don't tell me Nick's going to be talking in the video, dude.
In the house. I want to see them going through the house. I want to see if it's cluttered or not. That's going to be really damning for Nick. I mean, if it's cluttered in the house, if it's a rat's warren in the house, we'll see about that, because Nick is asserting right now that
I'm curious about the body cam footage for the house too, because it clothes everywhere, dirty dishes, clutter. That's not like really damning of a disarrayed house. It really just depends on how it looks like. Okay, because if you go into any normal 5-family house, there's probably going to be some dirty dishes. There's probably I don't think a lot of people dust, and clothes are everywhere because you have 5 fucking kids that just drop everywhere and you can't keep up. So I'm skeptical on the dirty house at the moment.
Everything is fine
now. Skeptical as in I just want to see what they mean by a dirty house and look at that and everything, because it's not a really good description. But it also wouldn't surprise me, considering these guys have been coked out of their minds for a lot.
And the house was spick and spam, and everything was great, and there was no problems in there, and it was totally great. So we're going to see on the video
everything was okay.
But here we're going to see some interesting details. Look at this. On 523, Sergeant Nestor of the Sheriff's Office assisted in a drug search warrant. While en route to the search warrant, I was advised by Detective Pomplum to stop a motor vehicle that a person of interest regarding the search was on, Nick Rekieta. He was driving a black Lincoln bearing license plate, which is redacted. I stopped at County Road 10 and 51st Street at 9:14. The driver was identified as Nick Rekieta. I advised Nick about the warrant and the search of his person. At the time, Chief Deputy Bauman was with me, and Nick was advised that the warrant was signed by the judge. His response was, "That doesn't mean shit," and wanted the probable cause for the warrant. Guys, this is Nick thinking he is going to outsmart him in the moment, right? The probable cause is the standard, right? But they don't have to prove it to Nick there, right? They don't have to go and give Nick every single piece of evidence. They've got the warrant. Probable cause was needed to get the warrant. The warrant was issued. At this point, they don't need to produce all evidence to Nick to make him get out of his car, right? They don't need to submit all exhibits to Nick. And Nick truly, I really think he believes this. I really think Nick genuinely believed this, that he was owed to get every single piece of proof. You've got the warrant. The warrant is the proof. If it is a warrant signed by a judge, it's a valid warrant. Nick had no ability to contest it there. No ability to contest it there. He can contest it later. He can charge that. But at that moment,
you could also bitch about it, like, this is bullshit. This is a bullshit warrant. Blah blah. He could do that too. He's able to do that too. But there's still nothing he can do about it, and he still has to let him through.
He had no ability to challenge that, but he believed in his hubris that he had the point to do it. And we'll see that in the body cam. I want to see this. I want to see this interaction. His response was, that doesn't mean shit, and wanted a probable cause for the warrant. While conversing with the topic, Detective Poplum was asking for a door code so they did not have to breach the door at the residence. Nick advised me that he was not giving me, quote unquote, shit, as he hadn't seen the warrant. Well, they literally showed it to you there, that the warrant, the signed warrant, but okay, fine, he didn't see it, okay? I advised Poplum we did not get a door code. I checked Nick Rekieta's person. He was wearing flip-flop shorts and a shirt. He had an ID, credit cards in his wallet. At the time, he went back into his vehicle, which also had his daughter in the passenger seat, so he was presumably taking her to school. We went back to the residence, and I was assisted at the scene by standing near Nick Rekieta and Kayla and April and their 4 children. While assisting and keeping the 4 children occupied.
So that explains the whole, there's only 4 children in residence and all that stuff. Because people were asking me, like, why is there only 4 kids? He has 5, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, so there's that explanation. It's like, oh, he's taking one to school, which I figured. I was like, probably one was with him.
About getting clothes, wanting new clothes, as she made a reference to the fact she had been wearing those clothes more than a day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have body cam footage. We will have body cam footage of one of Nick's children begging for clothing. So Nick has been denying this fact, has been denying this and saying the children were fine, there's no issue, there's no issue. If this is a lie, it's going to come out on the body cam. If it's true, it's going to come on the body cam. And Nick has already impeached himself because Nick has run around the internet, run his mouth the last couple of days. He has not shut up, and he has said, no, the kids were just fine. Everything was good with the kids. You're an asshole for saying elsewise when people would challenge him on that. Nick has come out here and run his mouth on the internet, on locals, on Twitter,
DMs,
and wherever else he's been running around. And from what he's going to do in the next, in the next week, probably he's going to do. He's running around, running his mouth, saying everything was just fine. When the info comes out, when this body cam comes out, and it shows what I imagine when I'm looking here and looking at this evidence, it was a little girl, one of his little girls, right, begging, please, officer, I need some clean clothes. I've been wearing these clothes more than a day. Please, can I have some clean clothes? That is going to break.
I think he's being a little hyper, like he's exaggerating a bit. We don't know if she was begging. It could be like, hey, I've been wearing these clothes for a day, more than a day. Can I get, some new ones? It could have been simple as that. I think it's a little, exaggeratory to be like, oh, she was begging. He was begging for clothes. I think it's exaggerating it a bit. But with the body cam footage will show this. We will see what the body cam footage shows. So yeah, we'll look at that. We'll see what, it could have been just a simple, like, hey, I've been wearing these clothes for a couple days, for a couple days now. Can I get some new clothes before we go anywhere? Could be simple as that. And also, kids sometimes wear the same clothes over and over. There's not much, it's kind of hard to get them out of it. Sometimes it just depends. It depends on how she asks, the tone of her voice, and we'll get in there.
Break freaking hearts. And anybody who is still, if this comes out, if this fact comes out, anybody who is still defending Nick would need to take a very long look at themselves. And once again, okay, yes, this could be a grand government conspiracy. Maybe the government made all this shit up, right? Right, Robert Barnes? Right, Viva? Maybe the government's making this fact up. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. We're going to see when this comes. This is completely made up, completely manufactured. We will find out. Move myself to the side here. Last one is here, which is I was asked to transport Kayla Rekieta to the jail. I advised her she had been placed under arrest. I placed restraints in front of her, checked for tightness, double locked and adjusted. Okay, and that's the end of that right there. Okay, so that was the supplementary report. So there are some damning facts in that one. There are some very damning facts in that, guys. So I'm shocked at this point. Extremely shocked. Because there are fewer comments, I'm going to get Rumble first. Yes, Rumble, I'm going to get you first. And then we're going to get super chats on YouTube. I'm going to work all of the 10s and the 5s, and then we'll anything's a 2, we'll get that at the end, and then we'll pick up with, we're going to continue with talking about Josh and Kiwi Farms, right? So we're going to talk about that right after. But let me get all these chats so you guys know what I'm talking about. We can kind of get some of your thoughts on this subject, because this is indeed a very fucking tough subject. This is an extremely tough subject. So here we have Occupant, who says there's a 12-year-old video, Don't Talk to the Police, by Regent University Law School's YouTube channel. I think it's a great resource for laymen to understand why you need to shut the fuck up. Actually, I'm going to tell you guys a secret. In the beginning of my channel, I was trying to be like a based legal eagle. I was trying to be like a legal eagle that wasn't like a weird leftist, cuck. So I made a lot of videos that were like that. So I actually have a video, Don't Talk to the police. That's one of my initial videos. I did it on TikTok that got the most views ever. So yes, that's a very good one. I was inspired by that video from Region. It's a very good video, but I would recommend that video as well. So that is a very, very good one to look at.
I recommend my own video.
Then I think there was one right above that in Rumble, and that is right here from Pinochet's Helicopter Tours. Introduced to you from Nick. Hypocrisy is just something I'll never forgive. My time is valuable, and I'll never give a second chance. No amount of possible constitutional violations will ever change that. A lot of people are feeling the same way. Like, hey, Nick, you know what? Your constitutional rights may be violated. Maybe you win on the Fourth Amendment. Maybe your 5% chance to win comes through, but I'm not supporting you after this. And that's your personal choice, whatever your morality is on this, it's fine. Nick is innocent until proven guilty of the crimes. But the thing is here, guys, is before he is adjudicated guilty, we may have enough evidence for people to place permanent moral decisions. The court of public opinion may objectively make up their mind on Nick when we see that body camera.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's gonna really, like, depending, Nick's reputation may be done at this point. Because there's there's evidence. There's apparently some evidence of his own kids saying, like, hey, I've been wearing these clothes for a while. I'd really like some new clothes. So that can be very damning for him on his reputation. So we'll just have to wait and see and check that out. Hopefully, we'll get those body cam footage soon, and we'll see. We'll see, because before it was all speculation. Oh, could be a big conspiracy. The church didn't like it. Well, now if you have the own kids saying it, and again, it really depends on her tone and all that stuff. It really just depends on all that. So we'll see when the body cam footage comes out.
And that's before there's ever a verdict. And that body cam footage is coming out.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna talk about a lot of that today. The Big Red Snake, Aaron and Nick were lovers. The spat hurt the LGBTQ agenda. Biden administration sent in those white guys who attacked Smollett. Nick's best hope now is sneaking in a ball out of prison in the attorney. Okay, yeah, that's it. You know what, Big Red? Congrats on this.
We're gonna try to skip through all these super chats, and unless I see something that catches my eye.
Sapien, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Because I would like to hear about the Josh Moon thing, and I would also, or the Kiwi Farms thing. I would like to maybe see what he's talking about when it comes to the spat between him and Barnes and his explanation and everything.
Danielle Doran says, damn, Nick has a harem. So none of these adults and the maid nanny, April, or their parents could feed them and care for the kids. Well, what I think, my theory here is that the previous quote unquote maid might have actually been doing the job. And the new quote unquote maid probably was not. In fact, it seems like Aaron was more of the quote unquote maid because he was feeding them SpaghettiOs. He was the SpaghettiOs guy, according to his account. According to his account, right? Aaron said he was the SpaghettiOs guy. Death for 10 says, I was a hardcore IV, H, and meth and coke. Oh my God, Death, man. Finally got clean. Congratulations, brother. You're okay. So jumping in on that. And that's that. Number two, both looking good for Nick. It's not looking good for Nick. Why is Barnes losing his mind over this? Should I do this now or later? Here's a little preview. We'll go into it a little bit later when we get into Viva. We are going to address this. Hang on. We've got multiple segments for tonight. But one of the reasons why I think Barnes is flipping out over this is because two reasons. Maybe three. Number one, it's a libertarian argument. Drugs are involved. Libertarian argument is drugs are just fine. Drugs are okay. So jumping in on that. And that's that. Number two, both Barnes and Nick have very thriving locals, very active locals. Now I have locals as well, but my locals ain't shit compared to Barnes and Nick. In fact, I regularly speak with local staff, and they use Barnes and even Nick as kind of benchmark for like very large local communities. So one thing could be, hey, if Nick's locals goes down, if something else goes down, and you got people who are going to scoop up those followers, right? People that are going to scoop it up, and they're not, where are they going to go? They're not going to me. They're not going to Kurt. I don't know whether they go to Joe. They're definitely not going to Nate. Who else would they go to? For law coverage, right? For law coverage. Maybe they'll go to, I don't know. I haven't seen many other attorneys that are super pro Nick, but they might go to Viva Barnes because Viva and Barnes are coming out and really batting for Nick. So I could see that being a thing. They're going to legal bites. Yes, they'll all go to legal bites. All of them will go to no, but on a serious note, guys, that could be a thing, right? And I'm not.
Yeah, that could possibly be it. The reason they're so heavy, for Nick and stuff, it partially is to suck up his viewerships or his subscribers, which would give him a lot more money. So it just depends.
Not even saying that's wrong, because once again, audiences move around, audiences go places, and
Nicholas, you can come over to me. I'm fine with that.
YouTubers, they get into this very incestuous, and I know this because I've seen I've seen the chats. I've heard them talk to me on the phone. They're all competing for each other's pay pigs. So they all kind of want all of the law tubers in that community. They have a very big scarcity mindset. So they kind of want to like steal each other's highest super chatters. So they're all trying to poach each other's super chatters. So that's very much how they try to play their game. So they're saying, okay, all these people that give a lot of money. There's people that give Nick thousands of dollars. And they're saying, hey, if we can get those people over here, that's a big win. That's a big win. Theory. Once again, theory. Maybe incorrect, right? And I will say this. I did mention this thing about Rumble. And Barnes is denied having a Rumble contract, which is fine. Viva's denied having a Rumble contract. But that being said, it's important interest. I mean, yeah. And is that even bad? No, not necessarily. But what is bad is if this comes out against Nick, this is not going to look good for Viva and Barnes because they've come out so strong for him to the point where they attacked Sean. They blocked Uncivil Law. They blocked Nate, right? They attacked me, right? In a hilarious turn of events, they actually said that they tried to make fun of Sean. And they tried to say Sean was the anime lawyer, and Sean's like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're confusing you and me, right? Like I'm the weed lawyer. Like Sean covers a lot of stuff, but Barnes can't get his lawyer straight. So it's very interesting there. So, anyways, continuing down here, got a couple more, and we're gonna get back into it. Going into Kiwi Farms and the big news about that. Sumo Gamer USA said, "Hey Google, it doesn't make sense if he gets 1.4K views on a post in 10 minutes. When I reply, gets 10 views in." Whole leaving a 7-year-old to watch a kid being neglect angle is dumb. A 7-year-old is capable of watching kids overnight, and it's like playing alone in the yard. I'm not saying it. No, Troy, let me be very clear. I'm not saying it's neglect. But what I am saying is it is a fact which, as a consideration of the whole situation, right, is perhaps noteworthy, right?
Again, I disagree with legal mindset here. Just because, again, he's not a father, so and all that stuff. So, I disagree with him here. I think it may be a fact in the search warrant stuff, but it's, in my opinion, an irrelevant fact unless it comes out that there's no food in the house. He couldn't really adequately prepare. They didn't give him a phone or a number to call or whatever. They left their cell phones and shit. That type of things. Because parents do this all the time. They leave their oldest in charge, and he watches the kids, make sure they go to bed and everything before they get home and stuff. So it's a fact. But I think it's a fairly irrelevant fact unless more comes out that shows that there was that he couldn't, that the 17-year-old wasn't able to properly care for the kids, like food, stuff like that nature.
Perhaps noteworthy. And once again, there are a variety of age kids there, right? Is that 7-year-old equipped to look after them? Maybe not. I don't know. And back in the day, look, I took care of myself after I was like 12, 13 years old. So yeah, it's household by household, fact pattern by fact pattern. John Christian says, poor guy has gone from full unbreaded ranting on a show to pulling a Daryl Brooks representing himself, gone Destiny wife sharing, and I heard something about going Jack Murphy on a whiskey bottle. All of those things are, well, at least for the most part, either rumored or, true. So either those things are rumored or true. Yes, John. All of those things. Jeffrey, thank you for the one legal mindset membership. Appreciate you. Help for 10 says, after Mediker, shout out to Jim. So I'd say you're my favorite streamer of all time. Keep up the good work, bro. Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Type 1 Ligma. How about Type 1 Sugma? Nick's lucky his drugs aren't spiked with other stuff. My aunt's ex had spiked coke and ended up with drug-induced dementia. Bro was a Halloween prop like it was a person. Terribly sad. That is horribly sad. It's horribly sad. Mega Mabas says, I love Viva for non-Nick stories, but Barnes can get thugged. I wouldn't hire him for a simple defense case. He's way off on the deep end. Alyssa sharing the DMs and reading them has been wild. I can't turn it off, but I hate it. Yeah. One thing real quick. Yeah, Barnes is very good on the theory. And in fact, I respected him. I sent Barnes a very deferential and respectful message on Twitter that was like, dude, you're the constitutional guy. I liked your arguments. With Barnes, I wanted to hear him make a good faith argument based on the law. But him and Viva chose to get personal right away. And to me, the choice to get personal, the choice to attack people personally, it came off as the lady doth protest too much, right? Why are they resorting to that right away? Why can't you just make the legal arguments and stick there instead of getting personal, making personal attacks? And yes, I entertained a super chat, which asked me a hypothetical about Rumble. If he watched the whole stream in context or went back and actually looked at it, he would see it was a hypothetical, right? I understand how he could misinterpret a hypothetical. He could have also DM'd me about that. He has my DMs, both of them, right? They could have contacted me and say, hey, wait, what did you mean here? And I would have clarified. Instead, they chose to attack, right, publicly, and attack Sean, right, and attack Nate in uncivil, right? And once again, other people in the law, not me, a sort of criminal lawyer, but other people have criminal law experience were like, yeah, this is dog shit. I think that's worth listening to because once again, in terms of street level stuff, in terms of routine stuff, Barnes is not the most experienced one out there, right? And I did not mean to insult them. I was actually being contrary. If you go back and look at the whole stream, that whole PowerPoint I went through, that was meant to be a challenge for us to have intellectual, professional conversation. And they chose to become unprofessional. But here's the thing, guys, and here's the thing with me. If you decide to become unprofessional with me, let's fucking go. The gloves are off. I mean, some other people are going to try to hold the moral high ground, but the second you try to go there, buddy, we're just going to it. We're just going in on it, right? We're just going full in on it, right? So as soon as they bring that stuff, if they're going to ad hominem me, yeah, I'm going to ad hominem right back, right? But that's all they've got. They don't have legal arguments. They've got ad hominem. Nancy says, thank you for the fair coverage. It's not an easy case coverage. It's very difficult for me. And honestly, you see me even live here thinking about it, reading this. Some of this breaks me to tears, especially the children's stuff. I was an assistant youth and children's pastor, $9.99. It's sad. I sent Nick a SUPA when my ex-wife to court after drinking on the way to pick my son up from school. He said it was reckless endangerment of a child. Now that's him. It's kind of funny when you look.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic.
Religious hypocrite. He's really a libertarian. They go from right to left and back again. It's like trying to hold air. They should just call themselves anarchists. Well, that's kind of sometimes the point with libertarian. Cope and Sneed for $2. Anime. Cope and Sneed for $2. Anime. Cope and Sneed. Sucks. Petition of Josh Moon, which is what Relevant says right here. There's a petition of Josh Moon to stream the court. If you could share it, that'd be great. I've done one better. Hang on to your butts. So,
you best believe if we get if there's a stream to be done where we where his court appearances live stream, I'm taking a day off and I'm streaming that bitch. All right, I'm streaming that bitch. I'm definitely streaming it. And then if he ends up the hearing goes forward to a trial, I'm streaming that bitch too.
The Kiwis, look, the Kiwis don't, they've been coming through. Now, I put down the gauntlet and I said to both the Nick stands and the Kiwis, I said, give me your best legal arguments, give me facts. And all I've seen from the Nick defenders is an attempt to shame me, is an attempt to say I'm a bad friend, attempt to say Nick made you, an attempt to use moral arguments, or as they call it on the interwebs, as Mr. Mediker would say, moral facking, right? To try to make me feel bad about I guess, reporting facts, which isn't going to work. That is highly ineffective on me. That tactic does not work. And by the way, it doesn't work from the Kiwis or from the people that are defending Nick. It doesn't work on either side. I'm not going to fall for your moral arguments. I literally ignore them. That said, the Kiwis have actually come through and produced documents. They produced a search warrant. They produced this extra document we reviewed today. In addition to that, they're raising money for the body cam footage. In addition to that, Josh and his attorney are petitioning for the Rekieta omnibus hearing. Now, I can tell you that I have DM'd Joshua Moon. He got back to me immediately. Josh's attorney contacted me on the phone immediately. And Josh's attorney, who I spoke to on the phone at length, it was an extremely intelligent and skilled attorney. I was actually surprised at how professional, intelligent, quick, honest, forthcoming he was. It was actually very impressive. He was a real Minnesota attorney, right? Said, Hardin, he is going to apply for this being televised, and he wanted affidavits from lawyers. I am going to sign an affidavit. I'm going to sign an affidavit to do this. So I have the draft of that. I got some comments. I probably have a response because they're probably really quick. But I gave them some comments, some notes because they need to fix the affidavit a little bit. But he drafted a multi-page document within an hour. I'm very, very impressed. I'm actually kind of slow with that, but he was really quick. I was actually impressed. So I have to give a huge shout out to them, to Josh and his attorney, because they actually came through, which was very, very, very impressive. So why is this important? It's important that everything as part of this is televised because we need to see what is true and what is not. If Nick is telling the truth, then we will get it through the evidentiary process. If Nick is lying, we will see it. The next hearing is an omnibus hearing in August. If we can get that televised, we're going to be there. And based on my discussion with Hardin.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, in August, his court date is August 20th, which is a Tuesday at 1:45 p.m. So that's when it will be. So at some point, we'll hear about this.
And with his lawyer, based on my discussion, they will have no grounds to fight us. We are going to give them all of the grounds to be able to get this data. They're going to have zero grounds for objections. So we should be able to take this W. And this is funded by Josh Stance guy. So I got to give credit where credit's due. Does that mean I agree with every single thing on the farms? Of course not. But I gave homework assignments, and the Kiwis did their homework. Josh Moon did his homework. And the Nick stands, the Nick defenders, the Nick Sims, they did not. All they did was try to shame me morally. That's all I've got. I did have a little bit of case law, which I haven't had a chance to look up, an Illinois case that someone said, hey, would this Illinois case affect probable cause? I'll look at that. But I had one case. And it wasn't even by a lawyer. It was by a non-lawyer who said you should look into this. The Nick defenders have been coming up slow. And then who else? Who else do we have here, right? So we have Josh, and obviously there's that. But we have this guy. And once again, we're circling back to this other point. And yes, by the way, guys, I will get to all your super chats before we end. Do not worry. This segment needs to be gotten to, though. We've got Viva Fry. Viva Fry, who even after the supplementary report is still at bat for Nick Rekieta. I thought the smart move is going to be to back off because the more details that come down, the more it's looking bad. But he is doubling down. He's going in, and it is not looking good. Now, he raises some good legal arguments like the fact of the weight of the cocaine and the packaging. But as brought up by Steve Gosney, the packaging question is really state dependent. It is state by state. And I guarantee you with absolute certainty, Viva, who is not, he's not even an American attorney, much less a Minnesotan attorney, right? He is not even licensed to practice in these United States, but with those that burnt down our White House in 1812, we haven't forgotten about that. I like poutine, but 1812, your boy remembers that. Your boy remembers 1812. That said, the argument about the cocaine, maybe that's valid. The rest of it, it's going to look really, really bad when that body cam footage comes out, brother. The photographs, the body cam footage is going to look really bad. I would be more cautious. I would not come out so hard and make a definitive statement. And that's why I've tried to be objective about this, because look, I give the percentage chance. I say, hey, there's a 5% chance that Nick could win because he could just make a good argument. He could get lucky. They could do whatever. Like, that can happen. It could happen. 5% chance, right? You can roll a die and you can roll a 100-sided die. You hit the 100. Congrats. You make that caveat, but you're not caveat. You're coming out here and saying, no matter what, no, they're going to get off on this. That is unconstitutional, no matter what. You're sinking yourself in, man. And is this the boat you want to die on? Is this the hill you want to die on, brother? Yeah, and look at this. Uncivil's here. Uncivil knows a thing or two about the Constitution. Maybe I'm just a simple Florida bond lawyer who likes Asia and anime.
Yeah, and Uncivil, I can't remember what he was reading, but he was reading something and he broke down crying over it. And even Uncivil Law seems to be turning. He's been like, I was trying to give the benefit of doubt, and it doesn't look like it's going to do well.
Just a simple Florida bond lawyer, But Uncivil, he's on the Constitution all the time, and he thinks it's 5%. So once again, not looking good. And people thought Kurt was going to bat for Nick. Is he going to bat for Nick saying 5%? No, he's coming through. All right, I'm gonna get the super chats here, and then there's one last thing I want to expose. There's a piece of there's a podcast from way long ago that nobody has been talking about, which somebody brought up to me, and I haven't said it. I haven't seen anybody talking about it, so I want to talk about it here today. But first, I need to get to all these supers. We got 59, and I'm negligent if I don't get to them. So thank you, Michelle Yenyo Skinner. Appreciate you joining as a member. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Welcome to the channel, and I hope you're enjoying the coverage. Thank you so much. For 20, Jeremy Wormy says, not trying to grift my own stuff, but I said this on my own stream. Nick was one of the people who helped me when I was at my lowest. My grandfather passed away. I didn't get to stuff first. Dude, let me say this, Jeremy. I have been privately talking with people that have been talking with Nick, that have been DMing with Nick, that have been calling him, that have been texting him. So many people are reaching out to me and saying, dude, I was talking to him and, shit's bad. And this hurts. And the sad thing is, for all the people that were telling Nick to pull up, and so many people said, Nick, pull up, like airport, into the mountain, right? Pull up. And he didn't do it. He refused to do it. Alan Tanasi says, first time super chat, a long time watcher. Thanks for coming to the case. Oh, hell. Thank you so much. Absolutely appreciate it. Aaron says, hey, I used to look up to Rekieta, especially seeing how he's a local guy for me. I lost interest in his work, and he's around the balcony coming about. Now it's just you and legal vices for me. Yeah, shout out to my fellow Korean. I'm actually going to be going back to Korea in close or shut the fuck up.
All right, so I'm skipping through all these super chats, and we're just gonna finish up the coverage here. And I think that'll be it for me for now. I had a hard out around 9, and I think my coverage of Trump and Dan Bongino's interview, even though it's only 39 minutes, will probably take a bit of time.
When asked questions, why assume he's carefully sweeping the house for guns and the kid's safety? Yeah, maybe, but it's going to become a monthly supporter on Rumble. Thank you so much, Jackals. Appreciate you, brother. Also, Jackals for 5 says, my father is my issue 4 happened on December 11th, 2022. This is so far back. We got Fair and Balanced, his feet over her head, drunk with Nick on stream in it, which, she's disappeared. But we got April Immold, Christy, Britt.
I kind of forgot about Fair and Balanced, honestly. It's been a minute. Honestly. It's been a minute.
And Alex Stein. And what happened in this scenario is very interesting, because in this, there's a reference that there was always been a reference that Nick is mad at Alex. And people are like, why is Nick mad at Alex? Why is Nick mad at Alex? Well, I was reviewing the tape, and it seems like Nick is mad at Alex because Alex insulted April, right? Or at least Nick perceived this as an insult to April. And also, I believe he challenged Nick on something as well. I forget what it was exactly. Oh, it was like Elijah Schaffer, because Nick is like good friends with Elijah Schaffer, I guess. And then Alex asserted that he's got proof that Alex asserted on the stream that he has proof that Elijah Schaffer cheated at a conservative convention. So Nick was not happy about that. And then he was also not happy about April Immold. I'm going to play like 30 seconds of this, like, or a minute of this, just so you guys see it. But this is kind of crazy because it's like way back before when anyone was talking about this, which is very, very interesting. Let's just play it here.
Some like really solid proof. It's hard to just like believe it because somebody says it.
I got some solid proof.
They're talking about Elijah.
Okay.
What is that?
Oh man.
I got enough. I'll put it that way. Just put it that way. I got enough to know that I'm not just reaching for branches to know that something happened.
You know,
Like,
I want
that's
solid photos, or is it like an experience?
Do I have?
By the way, guys, this is not, just to be clear, this Mandy is not Nick's Mandy. This is not Mandy. No, this is Mandy Summers. She's totally different. This is an actual woman, Mandy. Nick's Mandy was a man, just to be clear.
Evidence that Elijah Schaffer cheated? Yeah, I know people.
Wait, she what? Like, I don't know if that's like true or not. All right. I mean, I don't know. That just shows how little I pay attention.
Seen him physically cheat.
I subscribe to Nick's locals, and I'm not really even in there. I don't even know why I was subscribed to the local.
That I trust, that I know would tell me that the God's on the street. Multiple sources. So yeah, so has Elijah cheated from? I mean, I guess in a court of law, Nick, maybe that's considered hearsay for people that I know.
I mean, yeah,
with their own 2 eyes that I trust that have seen it, and at the event that they're talking about, the conservative event that they're talking about.
It's all of us, though, like where there's smoke, there's fire. Yeah.
Everybody knows this thing, but I want to say April. I see
Here we
you there,
go.
my favorite steel toe girl. I see you now. You don't have your husband there.
That's
My
me.
favorite stepmom, my favorite Minnesota stepmom, April. Okay, April, because
What an honor.
you guys used to talk about me quite a bit. You haven't been talking about me lately. That's
Sure.
my feelings with that all about April.
You haven't been talking about me lately.
Look, I don't show prep at all. That's all Aaron. But no,
I can tell.
obviously,
Trust me, I watch the show. I can tell you don't show prep. But go ahead. What were you saying?
I'm not sure what that's supposed to
I'm
mean.
just trolling you because it's just funny because you said that my bit's over and that I'm not funny anymore.
Aaron said that.
Wow.
You have
I
said
very
that.
much.
You have said that, April. You have said that.
Either way, I think Aaron and I have both been very fair and said, hey, we really, really like News Desk, Alex. I think that's something you're really great at. We also actually really like your God, what are the bits you do? The last one, the only one we covered, the council meetings, yes.
See,
the only one we shit on was the Las Vegas one, and before that,
well, no, you should not. But see, it's Aaron.
So I'm going to stop here because it's like back and forth. But this is very interesting because it's like a little bit of history here where like this came out. And I'm like, oh, okay. And just for me, that was like, oh, all right. And once again, guys, what did I say? I've had a rule that I've talked about on my channel for years. I've talked about this for years now. Panels are where all the drama comes from. This is why I don't go on panel shows unless it's a very specific purpose and I'm like very limited. And
All right, that's it. That's just I thought that was gonna be bigger dropping than anything. It wasn't really. So there we go. That's the end of it. That's the end of the whole thing. Man, I should have done this ad earlier. I guess we'll just do it now at the end. Next time I should. Oh, okay, cool. So we'll do this real quick. All right. So get ready for an unforgettable experience this June. Join us for the premiere of Protocol 7, a true whistleblower story about Big Pharma and the latest film by Andy Wakefield. Don't miss the exclusive chance to see it first and join Andy and the filmmakers for a live Q&A after the screening. Mark your calendars for May 31st and June 1st in New York City and June 14th and 15th in Los Angeles. Tickets are going fast, so grab yours today. Witness the film first. Visit www.protocol7.movie now to secure your spot. So again, that's going to be May 31st, June 1st in New York, and June 14th and 15th in Los Angeles. So again, it'll be linked into the comments, the chat. But if you're interested, visit www.protocol7.movie. So there we go. There you go. I earned 89 cents. Oh yeah, the money. I should have done it higher. I could have gotten $2 when I had more views. But no big deal. It is what it is. What can you do? Yeah, so there we go. That's the end of it. Again, I'll probably do the President Trump interview tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. And I think unless something else happens, I'll do a reaction stream tomorrow just because it's been a minute since I've done one. And I like doing them. So yeah, so there we go. That's the end of it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So yeah, this is a lot of big news dropping down on Nick. It's gonna hurt him. It's really gonna hurt him. I think he's kind of screwed in the court of public opinion unless all the footage comes out and it turns out completely untrue, completely false. Everything that was said in that report was made up. I think it's going to be difficult for him to come back publicly from this. I think he's kind of done at this point. And you know what? It's not much you can really do, except hope that he does better. Really sad. Again, Nick was one of my favorite YouTubers. I watched him for a lot of legal coverage. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. There's no way I can really do any of that. Also, he's not streaming. Yeah. So this is all sad, but a lot of that in that statement is kind of. It's going to be hard for people who are for Nick to really be able to defend him more. I mean, you'll get some people trying to defend him, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And again, all this footage it's gonna come out. You don't think Kiwi Farms is gonna be able to get that footage? They're gonna get that footage. So we'll have when it comes out, I'm sure Legal Mindset will cover it. I'll cover it if I can get just the raw footage. Or if I'm able to find a way to get the raw footage, I'll probably just do it on my own and not follow Legal Mindset, just because I don't think I'm doing a coverage of it through Legal Mindset just because he can help with more of the legal stuff and point out maybe what stuff is relevant and what's not, that when it comes to like a legal case. I can't do that. I'm not a lawyer. I've never been in trouble with the law really, except for some tickets, which is why I'm using Legal Mindset's coverage to help with that. If this was if it wasn't if it wasn't about Nick, I'd probably be using Nick about it to use it. So I can't really do that, unfortunately. But yeah, all this is a sad situation. I think there's some irrelevant points there, but who knows? But yeah, we'll see when the body cam footage drops. We will see what's going to happen. I'll definitely cover that for sure. Just have to, I don't know, figure out how to get the footage myself too. But yeah, fuck, man, it's terrible. This sucks. But I think it's gonna become harder and harder for the Twitch or the Rekieta fans to really be able to say, dude, that we can't, this isn't, looking good and stuff. Oh, you know what? Since we're talking about Rekieta, I got like 20 minutes. Okay, there it is. No, is it? No. Because some DMs linked that that Mindset predicted would drop, and they have dropped. It looks like. So let's see. Go to someone I don't even follow. It just popped up. Let's see. Come on. I have screenshots, but it's going to take me a minute to send them over. What a pain in the ass is this. All right. Looks like I'm going to have to. Oh. There you go. Oh shit. I'm just seeing this right now. Well, this is interesting. So it appears these are evidence of some track marks. Or junky scabs, maybe. That's interesting. Yeah, so now there's footage being dropped of what appears to be marks that they're talking about. It's kind of funny, honestly. Come on, Jesus Christ! How far do I have to go to find this goddamn? Because there's the DMs were leaked. Oh, this guy tweets a lot. No wonder. I don't remember what time you tweeted this, so I'll have to keep going until I find them. Although it was okay. There we go. I was gonna say this would probably be easy just to fucking. All right. So here we go. Okay. So here we go. These are the DMs, I think, that were leaked. That Mindset was talking about the other day. All right. So starts off with Nick saying, "Cool. I'm literally talking about a bullshit neglect report from a specific vindictive person that is quite literally the opposite of truth. I'm not talking about anything else at all. I'm not saying anything else in here. Talk to me in DMs. You're not safe in DMs either, Nick." That turns out to be incorrect because there was 4 people that went to their pastor who was a mandatory reporter. And no guns were ever discharged in this house. I don't even own a 22. I haven't fired any of my guns since moving from my other home to here. Been about 5 years, and all of them were locked. Handguns in a safe, and in a safe. AR had a lock through the receiver. Okay. My dad was helping me with the driving the other day for our kids' education and extracurricular activities. He tallied it up 80 miles a day on average. I don't care what people think about anything. The kid shit is bullshit. I am pretty sure I know who reported that, and they have specific animus towards me. The first activity I missed for my kids was the day I was in jail. And shockingly, not pulled over, cited for a DUI ever, never even questioned for a DUI ever. Anyways, whatever issue exists for me, and I'm not meant to shit during my case, obviously, I figured a friend of mine would maybe realize that my children have never been neglected or in danger, but I guess that small courtesy is too much. Okay, and then it says, no, you fucking idiot. Is the driving blasted out of your mind like the report says? No, you fucking idiot. No one sees me drive. I know it's hard to see someone when they're driving 88 miles per hour 4 hours after a bender. Again, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you referring to the speeding ticket? So there we go. So that's those are the leaks made at some point. Okay, there's another one. Okay, search some more. Just a little bit more. It said, do you know what track marks are, retard? I've never done an IV drug in my life. You're doing cocaine at 8 a.m. while your kid's watching cartoons in the living room. What the fuck are you talking about? 8 a.m. Homie, I'm usually driving home at 8 a.m. about to go to sleep. If you think my kids ever went hungry or were neglected, kill yourself. I don't know what to believe. You've become a junkie, and they're not the most honest people. I've been on streams with you where you were too intoxicated to read super chats for hours. I never thought your kids went hungry. I stopped that because it was getting bad. You need to admit you have a problem. Becoming a junkie. Wow. All right. Thanks, Flash. So that's the leaked conversation between Nick and Flash. I don't know exactly what it's from, but yeah. So there we go. There we go. So I mean, oh man, legal mindset was right, correct. He said, hey, stop talking about this. They're gonna get leaked. Of course they were gonna get leaked. I don't know who leaked them, but of course they're gonna get leaked. So that's the end of the show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys God, man, this really, sucks. It's getting worse and worse for Nick. So, I mean, what can you do? So we'll just keep covering this, and maybe the 5% chance will work, and Nick will be found to be, it was all a giant government conspiracy. But I believe that as much as I believe a Theater Edgecombe saying it. If you guys don't know about that, then I haven't been really watching Nick for very long. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Give me a follow, and yeah, hope you have a good day, and peace out, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.